So good morning. I'm always getting questions on the leader I use, why I use it, and the knots I use for my terminal tackle. So I'm going to do a real quick discussion on knots. So for inland marsh fishing, there's only 3 knots you need to know. The improved clinch for tying your main line to leaders. The Palomar for tying lures, hooks, swivels onto your mono leader. And the Uni Knot. The Uni Knot is probably the most universal. If you only know one knot, that's the only one you need to know. You can tie lures to the line. You can tie braid the mono with the uni, and you can use the uni to tie your main line to your spool. So 3 knots we're going to go over for inland marsh fishing. The improved clinch, the Palomar, and the Uni Knot. So improved clinch knot to a hook. So the first thing we do is we go through the eye of the hook, pull some tag end out, pinch it right here above the hook, and for 40 to 60 pound, I like to go 6 to 8 times, and 10 to 12 for lighter lines, 15, 12s, whatever. So we make some wraps around the main line. We come back through this original eye we made above the hook, and then up through the bottom of this knot here, up through the bottom of this loop. We start to pull tight on both of them at the same time. See it wrapping up? And then you take and slide it down to your hook. Pull it tight and cinch it up against the hook. So that's an improved clinch to a hook. Very strong knot. Okay, the next knot I'm going to cover is another one to tie a swivel or a hook to a line or a lure. It's a Palomar. I use the Palomar a lot, and the reason why I like it is because you double the line up. You can either pinch the line and come through the eye, or you can thread the line through the eye, pull you some slack, and then come back through it. So you have your line doubled. Just like that. So with the Palomar, you double your line through the eye, the hook, the swivel, or whatever you're using. You let it hang in the middle, and then you just tie an overhand knot. So once you have your overhand knot, you take the loop of it, you go over the hook and over the complete, all the knots like that, and then you pull them up both tight. So that's cinching up your Palomar. Now the beauty of a Palomar knot is you have 2 wraps over the hook, so that doubles the strength of your line at the hook, the leader, the lure, whatever you might be using. So that's a Palomar. To a hook, you can use it to a swivel, to a lure, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and the next knot we're going to cover is probably the most versatile. You can use a Uni Knot to tie braid to braid, braid to a hook, braid to mono, and for the knot to put your line on your spool initially. All right, now we're going to do a uni to a hook. So this is a Uni Knot to a hook. So we come through the eye of the hook once again, pull us some slack, and you lay it out flat. This is give you a good visual on it. You take your tag in and you come back and you make a loop, just like this over your 2 lines. So from here you'll pick it up and you'll wrap this 6 to 8 times around the standing part and this end of the loop. So we'll pick it up, maintain the integrity of our loop. So here's our loop, and here's our 2 lines, and we're going to wrap it about 6 times. So that's 6 wraps. And then we'll take and we'll pull tight on both, and you watch the knot cinch up. See how it cinches up on itself? That's the beauty of a Uni Knot. And then it'll slide right down to the hook and you pull it tight. So that's a uni to a hook. So the uni is the most universal knot. If you only learn one fishing knot, a Uni Knot can be used to tie everything. We'll double our line up, and then just like to the hook, we loop it back on itself like this. We'll pick all of our lines up, and we'll make about 6 wraps around both lines and through this loop. So once we got our 6 wraps, we do just like we did with the other one. We hold the loop here and we tighten our knot down. So now we got our uni all tight. Trim off the tag end. And then you can take and slide this right over your spool and tighten it up like a slipping noose. So that's a uni knot on itself, and you can use this to tie your line to your spool initially. This is a uni to uni. So right here I have 50-pound fluorocarbon braid. So we line the line side by side, and we do just like we do with the other ones. We come back and we make a loop. So we'll have a loop in our fluorocarbon right next to our braid. So we'll pick them up. So we have the loop in the fluorocarbon right over the top of the braid. I'll make 5 twists. This is a 50-pound fluorocarbon, and then I'll start to pull the fluorocarbon tight, and as you can see, it starts to bunch up on the braid. I'll pull on both ends of it and get it to tighten up. When I get close, I'm going to go ahead and wet it a little bit so it doesn't burn. So it's starting to bunch up good. All right, so then I'll take my braid part and do the same thing. I'll come back this way, make a loop over the line, just like this, and then I'll make me 5 wraps with this loop over both the line and the standing part. And then I'll start to pull that uni knot tight so you can see it cinch down. All right, so now we just take and we pull the 2 lines together and they'll tighten each other up. So pull our 2 main lines tight. Pull our 2 tag ends tight. Trim the tag ends off. And there's your uni to uni, mono to braid. This is actually stronger than the individual lines because you have 5 wraps around each. And then a knot securing it. So uni to uni. So you can use the uni knot to a hook, you can use the uni knot to a spool, and you can use it mono to mono or mono to braid. All right, to make my fishing setup, I like to use these Sports Professionals size 4, 130-pound swivels. And of course, I'm always using a gold spoon of one sort or another. So to make my leader setup, I take 30-pound mono and I'll tie my swivel to my mono with a Palomar knot. So double it up, go through the eye, tie an overhand knot with the swivel hanging in the bottom and come back over everything. And I'll wet it real quick because you don't want the mono to burn on itself. Pull it tight, cut off my tag end. So there I got the swivel on the 30-pound mono with a Palomar knot that doubles the line up on the swivel. Then I'll take me 18 to 20 inches of line off my spool. I'll do the same thing for the lure end now. I'll double up the line, go through the eye of the lure hook or whatever I might be using, make an overhand knot with the lure in the middle, just like this, and then I'll pass everything through that eye, double it up, I'll start to pull it tight, I'll wet it, and then I'll cinch everything down tight. Pull on the tag end and the standing part. And that gives me about a 16 to 20 inch mono leader with a swivel on one end and my lure hook or whatever I'm using on the other end. Palomar knots on both sides, so with the swivel and the lure, the line is doubled up. So I have twice the 30-pound strength on the lure and the swivel end, since they're both doubled with the Palomar knots. So once I have my leader made up, I'll go ahead and attach it to the rod. And to do that, I just come through the eye and I do me an improved clinch knot. So I'll wrap around the line about 8 times. I'll go through my original eye and then come back up through the bottom of the outside loop, pull them both tight, slide it down to the hook, and cinch them up, cinch them both up. Cut off my excess tag end. So the reason why I do a leader setup like this is because I don't want to constantly be cutting back on the main line. I'll tie this mono 16 to 18 inches, and then if it frays or I want to change lures, I can cut this in and I'll have enough to retie. Or when I change lures at the end of the day or for another trip going from saltwater to freshwater, I just cut the mono here. I keep my original knot in its integrity, and I just constantly change out this bottom end. That keeps me from constantly cutting back and shortening my main line on my spool throughout the season. So this is my rig. 30-pound mono leader to a nice swivel to my main line, and I can constantly cut back on here, change the lure, retie, swap baits, whatever it might be, without affecting the length of my main line on my rod. Well, once again, thanks for watching, and I get a lot of questions and comments on my video. If there's any tech items or any questions you have, I'll try to get back to you in a timely manner. If there's anything you want to see or know, just shoot me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy watching the channel. Till the next video, get out there and go fishing.